Coming up on this episode, I talk about life reviews and how simply checking in with yourself before it gets drastic can help you navigate life a little bit better, and just check in with yourself to see where you want to go. So let's get into it. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast, and I'm your host, John. On this episode, I want to talk about a life review. Now, life review is something that's normally associated with near-death experiences. And while I've had a couple of those, I'm hoping to talk about a life review, bringing it a lot more into the immediate opposed to waiting for these near-death experiences or worse to happen for you to look back over your life and to see how not only your actions have played out, but how your actions have affected others throughout your life. Now, in a life review, they say that you experience not only your own actions, but also how your actions affected others, how the ripples of your actions rippled out amongst life and how it affected each person's life. And I think just taking the time to look at both of those aspects, both how your actions affect yourself and how your actions affect others throughout life, is always going to help you lead a better life in the moment. So don't wait until the end of life or something drastic to happen in life to perform a life review or to sit back and think about those times. Again, it might not be as vivid as a near-death experience, but it doesn't mean you can't start to practice that awareness, that conscious awareness of your own actions and how your actions are playing onto the world. That so many of us get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life and just get caught in our own rat race, for a lack of a better way of saying it. And I'm guilty of it myself. I call it John's little bubble. And when I'm in that bubble, nothing else exists. But the thing is, whether I'm in that bubble or not, whatever I'm doing through life always affects other people. There's always other people I'm going to bump into and other things I'm going to do. So I'm never really as isolated as I think. My actions are always going to have ripples. Same with yourself. So taking the time to sit down and see how those ripples play out, they help you make better ripples in future. With anything, it's going to be a slow tide. But if you start making the movements, things start moving. And once you're in that process of looking back over life, it will become more vivid and it will become easier and you'll get better at the process in a whole. But I think there's great value in not waiting to perform a life review. There's going to be an episode coming out soon where I talk about my thoughts on turning 30, which is coming up soon. And I want to do an episode with Dave so we can talk back and forth through it, because he's already turned 30. And again, it's one of those life milestones that I think there's a lot of stigma around. Like anytime you turn 30, 40, 20, 50, 60, 70, 10, whatever. Anytime you turn one of those kind of round numbers, it seems to be a milestone. But inevitably, it's just another day, another piece of time, whatever you want to think. But anyway, we'll get into that with Dave. But the thing is, it's often at these milestones that people start to look back on their life and maybe get overwhelmed, or maybe they're happy with their life. But consciously, no matter where you are in life, taking that time to look back, seeing where you've been and seeing where you're heading, it's going to simply add value to your life, in my opinion. And for so many of us caught in the hustle and bustle of life, that's going to make such a difference. Because we're used to disconnecting and looking at other people's problems or fictional characters' problems and just getting lost in life. So when you ground yourself and you start to think about how your life isn't just affecting yourself, but it affects others, and that's an ongoing process and it's going to continue to happen. And really and truly, you can't stop your life from affecting other people's. No matter what it is that you want to do in life, we kind of live amongst this ecosystem. So unless you're a functioning part of that ecosystem, you're going to find life difficult. And if you're a functioning part of that ecosystem, the better you function, the smoother you're going to find life. And like I said before, I think we're all looking for a smooth life, a smooth, happy life. So the more we can tweak our own actions to get towards that smooth, happy life, the better. And I think taking a life review and looking back on your actions, on how you've been through your life, gives you that opportunity. Now, what you do with that information is up to you. Now, depending on how it sits with you, you might want to change who you are, or you might want to double down on some things. But at least give yourself the opportunity to look at the equation, look at the problems at hand, look at life at hand, look at the cards you've been dealt, and really think through how you can play, how you can use those cards, and what you can do with the life that you've got. Because there's going to be so many instances where we're stuck in a rut of doing what everybody else done. Like, there's an old experiment with monkeys and bananas going up a ladder. Long story short, 5 monkeys started in a room. If any of them tried to go up the ladder, they'd soak all of the monkeys with cold water, and the one that went up the ladder got beaten up. They repeated this process until no monkeys went up the ladder. When no monkeys would go up the ladder, they changed the monkeys out one by one, and the new monkey would come in. As soon as he would go up the ladder, he'd get beaten up by the rest of the monkeys. Eventually, that monkey would stop going for the banana, and then they'd switch out another one. They'd done this until 5 monkeys had all been replaced, and none of them had ever seen a drop of cold water. But when a new monkey came in and it tried to go up the ladder, the 5 monkeys beat it up. They didn't know why, but they just knew that's how the system was. Now, was anything forcing those monkeys to beat up the other? No, but it's learned behavior, and they were stuck in that cycle. So how many of us have that learned behavior where people will go for that dream and everything else, and the other 4 or 5 monkeys around them are going to pounce and dishearten them from that dream, or dishearten them from that life goal, or whatever else. And if those monkeys sat down and asked each other, why are we beating each other up? They could have had some bananas and shared them together. All got soaked with cold water. But they'd have never found out unless they would have tried for themselves. And that is us. We're monkeys with bananas. Are you going to try for yourself, or are you just going to accept the way that things were? But unless you take that step back, you can't see there's an equation at all. There's another little saying of ants in a jar. Red ants and black ants in a jar will be fine. But if you shake that jar, they'll start attacking each other. Now, those red ants and black ants didn't do anything to each other. You shook the jar, but they're attacking each other because the immediate enemy is in front of them. Now, how many of us do that with life? There's a problem in front of us that whoever we're projecting onto or going out or whatever else, it's not their fault, or it's nothing to do with them, but they're just in the immediate vicinity, so they're getting the fury. And that is so many of us. But if you step back, you can see that they're not the ones causing the problem. So if you could stop fighting for a minute and take a step back and look at the whole situation, your whole perspective on who the enemy is, what the situation is, what to do in that situation will change. So don't be a monkey chasing a banana, or don't be ants in a jar. Be conscious, be aware of your behaviors, be instinctual, be deliberate with your actions. Be conscious of what you're doing, and keep tweaking things until you get them right. Don't just accept any situation for what it is. Ask the questions, do the due diligence behind it. If your life is panning out a certain way and you're happy with it, ask yourself why. Because those reasons you can do more of, and you can make your life better. If life ain't going well, ask yourself why. Write them down and address those issues one by one. Because it's not that life is good or bad. They're just in front of you. Life is just in front of you, there for you to experience. It's the people or the things that you choose to focus on in your life If you choose to focus on the problem, if you choose to focus on the negative, that's how life will feel. If you feel like you're being attacked, you will feel like you're being attacked. And therefore you'll act inclined. Whereas if you take a few knocks and you go, okay, cool, is this just life? You ask yourself those questions, you do a little bit of due diligence or whatever else. And then, again, the answer might be, is an enemy an attack? But if you don't do a little bit of due diligence beforehand, you might be attacking the wrong person. And I think we're all guilty of that in one aspect of our lives or another. So taking any time to think is going to do you benefit. So if taking that time to think about your life, your experience, and how your actions have been affecting others throughout however long you've been on this planet, that's going to help, you know? That's really the be-all and end-all. The more you know, the more you can do, and the more deliberate you can act, opposed to just being a leaf in the wind of life. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to be a leaf in the wind sometimes. But hey, if you're constantly blown into the wind, you might get blown into a wildfire, and now you're no longer a leaf. So, time and a place. Everything has its time and its place. And even for a life review, doing a life review every week probably ain't the best idea. But doing it every once in a while, just having a good think about, are you on a friggin' good line? Are you heading where you want to head? Are you doing what you want to do? Are you living up to the person that you want to be? Just checking in with yourself every so often is going to do you the world of good. At least it does me. So take the time. That's really all I can say on the matter. Like, hopefully this has given you at least the idea to sit down and think about your life in a couple different ways, not just the way that you act and how you feel in the world, but how your actions impact others and how they feel in the world. Because again, we all share this planet. It may not feel like it. You may feel like you're in your own personal bubble. But regardless, you have to interact with others. We share the world with others. So remember that. Best you can anyway. The seed for this episode is going to be... Go out and have a good day. That maybe not my traditional seed, but just do something that makes you happy and enjoy the moment of it. Because chances are it's not going to be anything too extravagant. But just do something for a day that makes you happy. If you're in the UK, the sun's starting to come out, weather's starting to brighten up a bit. Hopefully you're an outdoorsy person and you can get out. If you're an indoorsy person, then crack on with what you're doing. The weather don't really matter to you. If you're elsewhere in the world, then hopefully you've got your own experiences that you can have and benefits of wherever you are. So go out and enjoy them, because the world is plentiful and the world is beautiful. But you have to go out there and witness it. Be a part of it. Don't shut yourself away. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.